2008 wasn't the kindest year to John Cena. Inside and outside the ring, his form dropped severely when compared to 2007 when he was on top of the world. Cena was the man in 07, but that's old news. His 2008 didn't rival 07 at all, which was in all honesty probably his best year ever. So it's not like he was going up against a normal year. His status as the number one guy was somewhat downgraded in favor of others like Randy Orton and Triple H. His year wasn't no 2008 Tom Brady because he actually had some great moments. But at the end of the day though, he fell down to yet another injury. This time, a neck injury. Cena was left sidelined for the rest of the summer and early fall. On the November 3rd, 2008 episode of Raw, the 800th episode, Shane McMahon announced that the world champion, the winner of the steel cage match, will face the returning John Cena. Batista and Jericho go out there. The 100K incident occurs in which Batista bladed and was caught, and Jericho captured the title. For Y2J, or the man formerly known as Y2J, he saw John Cena as a bad influence and saw himself as the man that could prevent chaos from occurring, because if John Cena's champion, all hell's gonna break loose. Did Jericho go to sleep in 2005 and suddenly wake up in 2008? This version of John Cena being loud, bro is one step close to joining Sesame Street rather than being wild. But anyways, Chris Jericho felt that everyone wasn't focusing on him and his success recently. Everyone's talking about John Cena. He's talked about as a hero, yet he's never conquered him. It was a foregone conclusion for the champion. He went through Shawn Michaels, CM Punk, and Batista, and he refused to allow Cena to come in and take what he worked so hard for. John Cena is not the centerpiece of Raw, it's him. Jericho said that Raw won't be saved until he puts off the fire that is John Cena. So this is what it is. Chris Jericho's imaginary burden of carrying Raw brought him to the belief that John Cena's toxicity was poisoning the brand. His self-interest also came in play though, because he had just won the title and clearly didn't want to let it go so soon. For John Cena, it was redemption. The situation was entirely in his favor. Hometown crowd at the TD Garden. Experience in the main event scene. It wasn't working out well for Jericho in that area. The only thing that was a bit unfortunate about this situation is that Chris Jericho was clearly losing. He had some amazing work during this entire run, but never had a lengthy title reign. Cena had these video packages being played, half the roster was talking about him, and no way was he losing. And even though it was Boston, Cena received a mixed reaction. His scar was apparent, but so was his emotions. He was happy to be back. The champion's approach was based on experience. Having to go after Cena's neck would do a number on him, and the challenger had that sense of urgency to lock in the STFU, but that didn't materialize yet. It was very back and forth early on. Cena's confidence wasn't at its fullest yet, and he feared climbing up to the top, and Jericho took advantage of this. He eventually took control and isolated the neck, the surgically repaired neck of John Cena's. Cena's strength, though, was enough to break through. His momentum, though, was nowhere to be found. After Jericho's cooldown period, he opened up and Cena was up for the 5-knuckle shuffle. He didn't hit and Jericho locked him in the walls. The champion was working hard to make this an underwhelming return for the hometown hero, but this was Super Cena. He hit the FU from out of nowhere but failed to take advantage. Cena overcame his fear of the top rope and connected with a leg drop, but the FU wasn't to be, and boom, code breaker. 1, 2, no. The hope was fading. Fans were booing Jericho. He's going for something when Cena catches him in the STFU. With all of Jericho's will to protect the Raw roster, he almost reached the rope. He managed to escape though. Cena lifted him, showing his brute strength, and hit the FU. 1, 2, 3, new champion. Before the match, I was leaning towards solid, but this was good, especially for a rusty John Cena who hadn't wrestled in 3 months. He returned to form almost instantly, and it also helps that a veteran like Chris Jericho was his first match back. They could work the basic story but make it good. So now the champ is back. For Chris Jericho, he had to earn a rematch, and that's what he did. So now, he was the number one contender for the title at Armageddon. As for John Cena, he had yet to make his return on Raw, so Jericho wanted to be a one-man welcoming committee. Cena, though, preferred to insult him elsewhere. He said that Jericho thinks he's better than everyone else, and he praised the fans and told Y2J that he's not liked. And about the welcoming committee thing, if he wants to welcome them, then welcome them right now. Jericho looked on in pure disdain as Cena descended from the top of the arena. The champ said that the fans care about the WWE. They spend their money and enjoy the product, and without them, none of this exists. Chris Jericho bragged about the guys he beat, and Cena mocked them before adding that they're different. Why? He talks business while Cena gets down to business. All Jericho could respond to this was saying 3 weeks. Of course, he was referring to Armageddon. Cena praised his abilities in ring, but trashed him for claiming he needs to save this place. Holding the title proves that they do not need saving, and it proves that the champ is here. And he's back. Jericho's very frustrated by this, telling him the champ is right here, and he told him that he's taking the title at Armageddon, and he's doing nothing about it. Why? Because he's a liar and a hypocrite like the fans he caters to. He's a flash in the pan, and there's nothing he can do about it. Jericho called him a worm and a coward before taking a beating. This one-sided beating spilled to the outside where Jericho was brutalized in many ways, and to top it all off, he locked him in the STFU. As a result of this incident, Chris Jericho brought security. Jericho was visibly upset over what had occurred and told the fans that they could cheer for John Cena, it doesn't matter because they're not worthy of being a fan of his. The only fan though that's worth saving is his son. Jericho spoke about how his kid became a fan of John Cena. He was a fan of the man that got him fired 3 years ago. So what did he do? He banned his son from watching WWE. That said, he's going to lift the ban at Armageddon because he wanted to destroy his hero. His real hero is going to be the one that comes home with the World Heavyweight Championship. John Cena, meanwhile, had to deal with Kane. Jericho, in an effort to get a slight advantage, told him that everyone believes John Cena is winning by submission. Kane was doubting his claims but promised to put on a show saying he loves these people. Regardless of his claims, he's going to get what he wants. Chris Jericho then approached Randy Orton and tried using his past with Cena as a way to get involved after the match, but for Orton, it was about the World Championship, and if Jericho's the champion, then so be it. So the former champion mentioned how his victory over Cena has been forgotten, and because of his return, he, Randy Orton, has become an afterthought. As expected, Cena struggled with the match. Kane was far too powerful, but then he realized, hey, I'm John Cena. This is when Chris Jericho interfered. Jericho's attack was thwarted and the champ won. His focus was immediately on him and a one-sided brawl ensues. All of a sudden, Cody Rhodes and Manu came out to even or uneven the odds, and to top it all off, Randy Orton was here. Batista chance intensifies. Jericho finally has his way with Cena, and Raw ended with Cena writhing in pain. On this incident, Cena mentioned the 3 words that Chris Jericho feels no longer exist: hustle, loyalty, and respect. He started talking about how Jericho's son wasn't poisoned. It's because he saw his father and felt that he deserved a beating. If it was Jericho who was beaten up by 5 men last week, he'd be complaining about how Cena should be suspended and stripped of the title. But he wouldn't do that. He was looking forward to the Slammy Awards and facing Edge. Hell, he's going to fight Chris Jericho too tonight. He ended the interview saying hustle, loyalty, and respect is the code that he lives by, and Jericho's about to get the definition of the word respect. And about that, yeah, Cena was a man of his word. He ran after Jericho right before his match with Edge, while the #1 contender made a run for it quickly and left Cena to focus on the Rated R superstar. Jericho eventually returned, causing the DQ, and Cena's attention shifted right to him. They started brawling in the crowd, and Jeff Hardy and Triple H, meanwhile, went at it in the ring. The build for Cena and Jericho comes down to the former champion's morals. He did not enjoy seeing John Cena ruin his moment and spoil his plans of holding the title. As always, he masked this with other types of reasons, but their match at Armageddon was very good. It helps that Cena was in there with Chris Jericho. What I mean by that is that he was out for a while, and you're probably going to be rusty, but he was great here. And they only had 12 minutes, which is understandable since Cena was out for a while. The most memorable spot for me was the FU countered into the code breaker. It's pretty damn good. The match was very dramatic, but I think everyone knew how it would end. But it was a journey getting there, and man, I wish these two had more matches together. There's some untapped potential with the feud, but it all came down to timing. I'm glad they feuded though. It's better that they did feud rather than the contrary. Cena of course emerged victorious, but the feud between the champ and Y2J wasn't entirely over. They would focus on other stuff, this and that, but they crossed paths a couple of more times after this. After a failed attack from Legacy on Batista, John Cena teamed up with the Animal in the main event. For Batista, this didn't end well as Orton punted him and left him sidelined for 4 months. It really felt like John Cena versus Randy Orton was on the horizon, especially after these turn of events, because at the time, Batista was supposed to face John Cena at WrestleMania 25. They faced off at SummerSlam. The match was good, but it lacked a storyline, and having the title would have cemented this as the battle of that era. John Cena, the face of Raw, the doctor of thugonomics, faced the whole entire company against the Animal, the former face of the company. He had that name for 2 minutes before they moved on. That sounds a lot like WrestleMania 26, and we probably would have gotten it a year earlier. I'm glad it went the way it did. Not Batista's injury, but the fact that it happened at 26. It took Batista a couple of weeks to get comfortable as a heel, and doing it here, it would have probably felt rushed and in turn could have been a disappointing build. With Christmas coming up, Santino Marella wanted to reveal a secret. Cena exposed him as never getting a gift from years ago and told him to shut his mouth about Santa. Santino told John Cena, yeah, he called him that, he has a big mouth, and bro was on the verge of laughing. He told him to bring a partner and face Glamorella. Goldust wanted to be the partner but was unsuccessful. And by the looks of it, Santino's pretty damn over. He was in Toronto and the fans were almost going crazy for him. Just as he's about to expose Santa's secret, John Cena interrupted and told him Santa's here. He gave him one wish, and Cena was like, I want a tag team partner. It was Trish Stratus. Damn, I'll never forget watching this on Telemundo or something. I don't remember, but they had some Raw reruns on Sunday, and this memory sticks out. This was Trish's first match in about 2 years, I believe, and it ended positively. I mean, were they going to have Santino ruin Christmas? No. Other people, whenever they talk about this match, focus on Cena's business downstairs, but we're not here to talk about that. With the Royal Rumble soon, John Cena's #1 contender was to be determined by a fatal 4-way match. JBL forced Shawn Michaels to lay down for somebody. Why? Because he was his personal assistant or something like that. He was his employee. He went broke at the worst time, 2008, and had to work for Bradshaw. It was bugging him that he couldn't try to win this match, but he had to do it, and JBL was the #1 contender. The feud between himself and John Cena had a very big HBK influence to it. Cena and the Heartbreak Kid were supposed to team up the following week, and the champ had no idea whether this was going to be a 2-on-2 or a 3-on-1. Michaels told him to look at history to know what to expect. Turns out, it was the old HBK. He brought the victory to his team, and Cena was left impressed. For JBL, though, he praised his employee for his performance and then revealed that Michaels is facing John Cena. JBL even went as far as to say that this was HBK's WrestleMania. He also informed him that he'll be in his corner. Michaels said that if this was his WrestleMania, he doesn't need him in his corner, and said that he's going to prove why he's the showstopper, the headliner. Cena had more than positive words for Michaels, telling him that he's Mr. WrestleMania, and expressed dissatisfaction with facing HBK at his WrestleMania. As always, this match between Cena and Michaels was excellent. It easily stands out for WWE that year, especially for a TV match, because this thing was long, compelling, and just flat out ridiculous for a TV match. Michaels, though, performed like it was WrestleMania, and all it took was a tiny mistake from John Cena, and boom, sweet chin music. Tight ass match. Michaels has all the skill in the world, but that can't compensate for his lack of money. Good match. Ahead of the Royal Rumble, a contract signing was held. JBL quickly signed and said that it's official before Cena called him trash. He then told him that he wanted to talk to HBK instead. JBL's like, oh, this is about me and you, and said that HBK's only function is accompanying him to the match. The champ sensed that Michaels was going to help him win the title, otherwise why waste that much money? Cena started hyping up Michaels' talent and shouted that he still got it. He's Mr. WrestleMania, not JBL's puppet. Bradshaw had this look on his face like, are we done? And said that an employee isn't a puppet. He's well aware of Michaels' talent, that's why he hired him in the first place. The only reason he hired him, though, was to help him win the title and go back to his home state of Texas as the champion. And then Shawn Michaels will get what he wants, a large amount of money. It's not personal, it's just business, and this is when HBK got all angry. Fans chant his name. He says that taking money from somebody like JBL sickens him, and as for John Cena, he doesn't live in his world. All this talk about Mr. WrestleMania, no. He has a lot of people to look after, and Michaels didn't care if helping JBL put a mark on his name or even cost John Cena a title. Then so be it, it doesn't matter to him. He's got to do the work for JBL. John told him that he's HBK. He's still got another choice, and the fans reminded him of who he was. HBK then demonstrated what his influence could do for JBL at the Rumble. This match was more about JBL and Shawn Michaels rather than John Cena. It was a minor part of the story, and their match was decent. It's not that memorable, honestly, and the action wouldn't look out of place on Raw. JBL was in control for a long stretch of the match. The pace was slow. HBK's involvement was very limited, but when it was necessary, it brought JBL an opening, and this is when I'd say the match kicked up a notch. The HBK element really helped the match pick up here. He ended up dropping JBL while Cena looked on proud like he wasn't going to get dropped a second later. It was a big tease, and JBL looked like he was winning the title, but after a minute, Cena kicked out and the crowd was all in. And all it took was one FU from Cena to retain the title. Yeah, the HBK drama elevated the match. Why? Because Cena and JBL singles matches are very forgettable. They're always best when there's some drama, whether it's I Quit or in this case HBK. It wasn't a big chance, but there was a little possibility JBL could win the title. It was very slim though. I could imagine them doing JBL versus HBK for the title at WrestleMania. But at this point, John Cena, whenever he was in the main event, whenever he's at WrestleMania, it was always for a championship. So it's on to the Elimination Chamber. Shawn Michaels was placed in JBL's position to face John Cena the next night on Raw. Bradshaw refused to compete and wanted to have an advantage, and their drama ended up costing JBL, which meant he wasn't walking to WrestleMania, which was in Houston, as champion. After Chris Jericho went on a tirade against Ric Flair and Mickey Rourke, John Cena finally shut him up and mocked him. He thought it was ironic that these guys were living out the past when he constantly mentions being the first undisputed champion. He said that he's been fired twice, yet he's still there, and he still won't shut up. Like at this point, Jericho's been gone, he's been fired twice, yet he still doesn't understand what's up. Cena wasn't in the business of making him apologize, that's already happened. Stephanie McMahon already did it a month earlier. He was gonna shut him up in the ring. Did he? Yeah. It was a good match as well and portrayed Cena as the unstoppable champion ahead of the Chamber. The thing is though, the Chamber looked so out of depth. What I mean by that is other than Chris Jericho and Ray, the others didn't seem to have a chance, and even Ray looked a bit inferior to John Cena in terms of chances. Here, Jericho brought the win for his team and gained some momentum ahead of the Chamber. And like I said, on paper, it didn't look like a memorable Chamber match, but man, was that far from the truth. Before the match, Chris Jericho said that he wanted to win the title and face Ric Flair at WrestleMania. Why? so he can give him the chance to become the 17-time champion. He was lying about that. He didn't want to face him, he just wanted to give him hope before tearing him down. All he promised here though was to win the chamber match. He was right about winning the title in the chamber match, but it just wasn't this year. About the match, poor Kofi Kingston never even got a chance to greet the competitors because Edge dropped him and stole a spot in the chamber. At this point, the chances of Cena winning drastically go down and the crowd was all in. Ray though wasn't too happy about this, and this was a great move. As unfortunate as it is for Kofi, Edge's inclusion made the match even more interesting. The match, it needed all the star power it could get and gave a feeling of damn, anything could happen. The trio of Edge, Jericho, and Mysterio really carried hard here. They made work of Mike Knox and Edge, leaving only the champ. And when he did come in, he was like, on behalf of Kofi Kingston, I bestow upon you this ass kicking. But Chris Jericho, Rey Mysterio, and Edge spoiled his plans and sent him out. New champion guaranteed, and to top it all off, it was either one of these three. It's a top 5 chamber moment because of how sudden it came, and I don't think anybody doubted Edge would win here after the elimination. One thing for certain though is that nobody expected Cena to go out like that. He rolled out of there in disbelief, and at this point, everyone wanted Rey to win it. He had the crowd on his side. Jericho, he sent him packing, but Edge was a bigger problem. He had this handled, and to the surprise of everybody, he was the World Heavyweight Champion. Great match. I loved how everything turned out. One small tweak turned this into an iconic chamber match. Overall, John Cena started. Hell no, we're not done yet. This video's only just started. The next night on Raw, Edge came out as the new champion. He called himself remarkable, resplendent, and even really smart. This was all about describing what the R and rated R stood for. The fans started chanting, "You suck," and Edge explained his mindset after losing the WWE Championship. He said that failure wasn't an option for him. He started calling the fans wrong for calling him a loser the previous night and proclaimed himself as a walking miracle for competing in 2 chamber matches. He said that Jesus turned water into wine, and he turned the WWE Championship into the World Heavyweight Championship. Despite the controversy surrounding Kofi Kingston's spot in the Elimination Chamber, Vicky Guerrero confirmed that Edge was champion. They start kissing, and never before were the fans happier to see the former champion, John Cena. Bro wasn't even mad because he knew that title was coming back. Look at him. Cena congratulated Edge and said that others would have been complaining about it, but he didn't. Cena went on to say that rated R stands for rematch, and Edge started looking on like he didn't know the definition of that word. The champion uses 2 chamber matches as an excuse to not compete tonight, and even went as far as to say I might not even compete for a month. He said that if he wants to see them, he should see them on SmackDown. For Cena, it was all about preparation. He wanted Edge at 100%, so he could go rest, do stuff with Vicky, stuff that certainly disgusts him, and revealed that he has a rematch. Edge made mention of their history in the Money in the Bank cash-in, and at this point, it felt like 10 years early. When they talk about this stuff, it feels like, damn, that was long ago. He's like, oh, what about when I visited your father's house? Talked about how they could mention rematches, but it doesn't change the fact that the champ is here. Cena grabbed him and told him that if he tries to hide, he'll find him. Regardless, they're gonna fight. Edge looked on and worried over this change of attitude from the former champion, and Cena the following week straight up told Vicky that he's cashing in his title shot tonight. Edge interrupted with the Big Show and put a stop to all this rematch talk. He compared Cena to Randy Orton at the time, who was threatening others to get what he wanted. John Cena told him, hey, be a champion and stop bringing out some excuses. He said that he doesn't have to answer to him. He told him that he can't be like Bruno, Hogan, or Austin because he's in the same era as him. He's like, oh, you can't be as good as those two because you're in my era. While he exists, Cena could never be the guy that the fans will want him to be. During this time of turmoil, he's a beacon of light, but for his sake, he should hold off the title match because when it happens and he loses, the fans will be left with nothing. Cena trashed him for standing next to a 400-pound beast, and of course, the Big Show. So basically, he's obviously referring to Vicky as that, and Cena said that he's one match away from being a future champion. All he wanted was a match. Big Show told him to show some respect to the G-Man, and this confused Cena. He's like, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, you're the one that takes care of Vicky, even in bed. And Edge was pressed. Cena thought he was getting the match, but it turned out to be something else, as later that night, Vicky revealed that John Cena's not getting his title match. He of course expected this a bit and told her that he's losing his patience. He promised to appear on SmackDown. Vicky hyped up this family element like Edge was coming out, but it was Chavo Guerrero. Cena beat him in under a minute, and her reveal took longer than the match. As expected, he appeared on SmackDown, and at this point, it was very often, which I thought was cool at the time. I was like, damn, John Cena's on SmackDown? That's nice. He said that he was on SmackDown because a coward was champion. Once again, he demanded the title shot for tonight and refused to leave until he got an answer. Cena chants intensify, and there's Edge. At this point, he had enough and accepted the challenge. This is when Vicky announced the match wasn't happening, and he had a sense that this was going to happen. Instead of a title match, he got a match with the Big Show. That match barely went Cena's way, and just as he's about to wrap it up with the FU, Edge interfered, and it led to Big Show scoring the W, and unfortunately for him, this basically meant he put his name in the hat for a world title match. But Edge had to worry about John Cena because the title match was on for Raw. The sentiment was Edge felt that the title defense was an easy one after Cena got KO'd by the Big Show. He claimed that Cena had the advantage because they're close to his hometown, but it was clear what was up. He clearly had the advantage because of the incident that had occurred on SmackDown. As expected, the match was intense, dramatic, and it's what you expect out of a John Cena and Edge match. For Edge, though, it was a live to fight for another day thing because he got himself disqualified when he was caught in FU position. Right afterwards, though, he stared at his next challenger, which was unbeknownst to him until Vicky revealed it. And when he did notice, he realized that it was finished. Cena looked on in disappointment as well. It got to the point where Edge was feeling something was up with his wife and the Big Show, and he was also upset at being informed of his opponent at the same time as the fans. Big Show tried to shut this down and even went as far as to say that Vicky thinks he would be a better champion. Edge was offended. He didn't want Big Show to use the dominant card against him as he's an 8-time champion. He said that he's more talented, faster, smarter than him, and then he saw things differently. He's like, oh, I know why Vicky chose you. It's because she wanted me to have an easy challenge. Edge even claimed that he's more of a man than Big Show will ever be, and just as he's about to sign, John Cena interrupts. He wasn't interested in talking and attacked both men, and he then told Vicky something and walked away. Edge was prepared for the match. He wanted to sign, but Vicky delayed the contract signing until Raw. So it was clear that what Cena told her affected her in a big way. As expected, he crashed the contract signing. Edge told him to fuck off. He's not in this match, but then he asked Vicky, "You didn't tell him?" And then he revealed what's up. The champion wanted to double team him, but Vicky revealed that she invited Cena out here. Why? Because Cena's in the match and the heels complained. Even then, he was forcing her to reveal the truth. And what was the truth? He loves Vicky. The fans were confused. Edge had that Booker T look and he was talking about what the heart wants. And Edge started saying that he's playing with her feelings and that she's going to rip the contract. It was still unclear what was actually going on, and Cena thought, screw it. He admitted he doesn't like her. He mentioned that he hates the mere thought of her. Whatever. And then he mentioned that when he came to SmackDown, he came because he knew the security guy. And he showed a clip of Big Show sliding into her room with Edge in the shower. And this is the most Big Show storyline ever. The worst part was when she told him, "I hope you win at WrestleMania," and smacked his ass. Also, this image is meme quality, but I don't know why they were doing this, especially for a WrestleMania build, but whatever. Edge's true enemy was right beside him, and Cena finessed her by getting himself a title shot and screwing her over. Edge started to get into his wife's head and got her against Big Show, who reminded her that she was the one that pursued him first. So at this point, she was at a crossroads, either the Big Show or Edge. As for John Cena, he went one-on-one with the Rated R Superstar, and Vicky was the special referee. Big Show ended up interfering, and despite their issues, they worked to isolate Cena. From out of nowhere, though, Edge decked him and ended Raw on top. This drama was overshadowing John Cena, who was using it to his advantage. However, he said that when he wins, he doesn't want anything to do with Vicky Guerrero's heart. This was all in light of the truce between those two on SmackDown. He couldn't believe that the 500th episode of SmackDown was ending like this. Cena couldn't come to terms on how Edge just let this whole incident go and be cool with the Big Show. He thought it was odd, and he thought it was funny that Big Show was laughing when he's the same guy who helped Edge and got speared earlier that week. But the worst of them all, in his eyes, is how WrestleMania 25 is about who shares Vicky's infection. Yeah, he literally said that. Oh, man. Edge was sharing too much information here, and Big Show was as well. And those two were getting into it in the ring. Push comes to shove. They're fighting, and Edge accidentally spears his wife. They're fighting over her like she's a stack of cash, and Edge chop blocked him, sending her flying. So Big Show chokeslammed him and carried her to the back. With Cena away in LA promoting 12 rounds, he read a poem about Vicky via satellite. As for Edge and Big Show, their drama was too damn intense. At this point, John Cena sold the importance of WrestleMania and how these three have tried to prevent him from participating. It got to the point where he had to resort to blackmailing. Why? Because he wanted to be a part of WrestleMania. Edge and Big Show's Jerry Springer last took the title hostage, and he was hell-bent on taking it back. Big Show wasn't too fond of Cena belittling his love with Vicky, and even said that love makes him stronger. Big Show challenged him to a match, and Cena was up for a fight. Before he could leave, though, Cena threw him like trash. On the final Raw before WrestleMania, John Cena once again faced the Big Show. Before the match, though, Edge came in with some advice. He hyped up the Big Show and told him that they have to team up in order to take him out. Otherwise, it's his match. He's going to win the title. Cena agreed, but still wanted to do things his way. In a surprise turn of events, Cena lost clean to the Big Show and took a beating from Edge afterwards. So that's the build. John Cena's pursuit of Raw's most coveted gold brought him to become entangled in a love triangle he wanted absolutely no part of. Yeah, you guys can have all your drama over there. I just want the title. Edge and Big Show want more than just the title. With Vicky comes love and, of course, power, and having the title is essentially a bonus. Of course, it was eventually revealed that Edge married her for that very same reason, but here, he made it seem like there was more to the relationship. Now, of course, this match in some ways is memorable, and unfortunately had to follow up HBK and The Undertaker, but it was solid and maybe even good. A million John Cena's came out as a future champ, embraced his inner Slim Shady, and after a build like that, and most importantly, an entrance like this, the chances of Cena losing were about as likely as Triple H hitting a moonsault that night. The inclusion of Big Show felt a bit odd because Cena and Edge is the ultimate WrestleMania match and would have looked great alongside Triple H and Orton, but it came down to Cena looking out for Big Show. He was very appreciative on WWE photo shoot and thought it was cool that John Cena was like, hey, we should bring you into this match too. It's a bit unfortunate that it never happened, but it's cool that it did in some capacity because some other feuds never get to that stage. Cena during the match was absolutely strong. His brute strength was on display for the world to watch, and for a little moment there, he had both Edge and the Big Show on his back. He was carrying like 600 or 700 pounds, and he dropped both of them with the FU. Won the title. Bro marched in there, had a special entrance, went through the drama and came out of it with the title. But overall, the match wasn't bad. It just had to follow up one of the greatest matches of all time. So that's Cena's second World Heavyweight Championship. The next night on Raw, he participated in a 10-man tag team match in a winning effort, and damn was this a super team. Jeff Hardy, CM Punk, Rey Mysterio, John Cena, and Ricky Steamboat. Damn! He had all of 2008's favorites in there. The champ's next challenger, though, was right beside him. On the April 10th, 2009 episode of SmackDown, Edge hosted The Cutting Edge. And to say this promo is amazing and memorable would be an understatement. It's literally the perfect description of this feud. Edge had a sense of bitterness on his face. He couldn't come to terms with the title not being on his shoulder. It was depressing to him, and he said it himself. He said that he hadn't slept in a week. Then he brought out his guest. Cena somewhat gloated about being the champ, and Edge explained why he brought him out. It was because that title is his life. He could struggle as long as he has that. Then he said that Cena stole the title from him, and he looked confused like he wanted to slap him straight, but Edge told him to sit down. The champ found this ridiculous and told Edge to get over himself. He said that you lost at WrestleMania. Then he shouted that Cena ruined his life, and he started talking about their past and how they went through hell. Cena felt this was an opportunity to talk about the rivalry, but he chose to whine about how he ruined his life, and to him, it was just a waste of time. And this is when Edge shouted, I hate you. He went on to explicitly explain why he hated John Cena. He hated everything about him. The wristbands, the shirt, the C Nation, and this feud exhausted him. He had enough. It took a lot from their careers, and Backlash was when it was going to end. At the end of that match, he's going to be the one left standing. Cena grabbed that mic and shouted no. Sure, Edge may be a better wrestler. Sure, he may be smarter than him, but Cena believed that he was desperate, and he was. He was desperate. He was showing it. His eyes, his face, everything screamed desperation, yet he's competing in a last man standing match. Cena straight up told him that he's tougher than him. That's why he's gonna be the last man standing, and that's why Edge hates him. He said that it wasn't the hat, the shirt, the wristbands, it's the truth. Every time he struck, John Cena, got back up, and if he wants to end it, he should do it right now and hit him. Cena was craving a fight, but Edge was wise. His contempt and hatred for Cena was not enough to fight him on this night, and he truly looked like a lost person. That title gave him direction and meaning, and now he was nothing, and he knew it. I love this promo. It showed how deep this feud had gone, because usually Cena was the one chasing Edge who would be doing some dastardly stuff. Now he was the one chasing after him, and he lost his confidence. It was different and gave the feud more depth. It was more interesting. After making a joke out of Jack Swagger and his all-American catchphrase, Edge went on the attack. The attack, though, was thwarted, and Cena was on the verge of dropping him with the FU. Edge, though, rebounded the following week by attacking Cena and sending him a message ahead of Backlash. Jericho and Cena, though, had a good match here, which is expected because at the end of the day, it's Chris Jericho and John Cena. They did not have to hit it as hard as they did, but they did it for the crowd in London. Edge, though, interfered and had to ruin a good match. He even hit the concerto and started counting to 10, giving everyone a preview of what's to come at Backlash. On the final SmackDown before Backlash, Edge gave his final thoughts on the last man standing match. He agreed with almost everything John Cena said about him. He said that he's grasping at straws. He's lost his mind, and the match is going to be the unstoppable force against the irresistible object. He went on to talk about their feud and how Cena always rebounded. That all changed, though, on Raw. He said that what happened here will happen at Backlash. Edge praised Cena's resolve and said that he almost respects him, but he despises him with every fiber of his being. He said that he has nothing left, and losing on Sunday, that's it. Basically, he's desperate. Sunday, they lay it all out for the last time. It was far too chaotic and damaging to their careers. It has to come to an end. Edge said that in the end, he will be the last man standing. Great promo. What makes this so good is that Edge wasn't the regular heel anymore. His pride was damaged beyond repair. Well, almost, because the one thing that could fix his problem, remove his woes, and set him free is that very title on John Cena's shoulder. The build was extremely strong and showed a different side to the feud, because for the past few years, barring that 1 month in the summer of 2008, Edge was always confident and trashing the fans, talking about how good he was. Now, he was still saying that he was good, but you felt there was doubt. All because of John Cena, the one man he couldn't truly keep down for long. In some ways, this match at Backlash could be considered their very best. It had that storybook ending vibe to it, and it felt like this was going to be the final time that they actually face off. And if they were to face off later on, which they did, it wouldn't be as heated as it was here. Edge's big match experience was helping him here. Cena struggling to match and was finding himself trying to get up at the count of 7. As always, you can never truly write out John Cena. Both men displayed resiliency during the toughest periods. They were pulling out all the stops. Cena was hitting the FU from the top. Edge was hitting a midair spear. There was an FU into the crowd. They were welding. Hell, they even brawled in the crowd. But that tenacity John Cena was known for started to frustrate Edge. Cena recovered from a dastardly chair shot and almost hit the FU, but then the Big Show came in from out of nowhere and threw him into a spotlight. Edge was more than accepting of this gift from the Big Show, and he was now the new World Heavyweight Champion. A man almost died, and Edge was worried about his reflection on the title. I thought this match was excellent. These two could do no wrong together, and after countless matches over the years, they perfected their chemistry, so it's expected to be good. Could I have done without interference? Of course, but that spot was cool in itself. For Edge, he was off to SmackDown, and Cena, he was involved in 2 feuds he didn't ask for. The next night on Raw, The Miz came out. He bragged about his accomplishments and then called out John Cena. Apparently, his match was scheduled for this night, but the former champ was unable to appear. Cena's music played, and there he was. Miz took this as Cena being a coward and started trashing him in an effort to bring him out. He then says that Cena says, "You can't see me." He agrees, and he said that he can't see him because his movies aren't in theater long enough. The Miz had enough of the same wrestlers main eventing and said that he's going to grab the brass ring. He then claimed this as a victory, saying that Miz won, John Cena 0. Later that night, Big Show faced Batista in a #1 contenders match. Despite his injury the previous night, John Cena showed up and bro didn't know what arena he was in. All he knew was that he wanted to fight. Big Show wanted to focus on the match, and after wasting too much time, he lost by countout. Even though Cena was around, The Miz wasn't back enough. He questioned Cena's self-respect and challenged him once again, and this was more than enough to get his attention. After the commercial break, there was still no Cena. He made fun of his movies. Miz called him nothing more than hype for the kiss to scream for, and unlike him, he's the most talented wrestler on Raw. Still no Cena, and at this point, The Miz made himself 2 to John Cena 0. But there he was. The Big Show, though, was right behind him, and he was looking for a fight, and John Cena got it. He was beaten and battered, and to make matters worse, he was unable to compete until Judgment Day. So he had to face The Miz in an exhibition match. What's that? A match that finishes when the GM says so. Miz said that this isn't 12 rounds, so everyone's gonna see it. And said that his rap album sucked. Cena's form was off, but he managed to fight back, and Vicky stopped the match. Once he turned around, The Miz hit the DDT, and Big Show left with a smile on his face. Despite his injury, Cena refused to complain, saying everyone goes through hard times, and like everyone else, he has to adapt and overcome. He said that he wasn't going to Judgment Day to compete, he was going to win. Their match at Judgment Day was not good at all. It was dull and uninspiring. They had better matches on Raw, and it also had to do with how John Cena had to fight back. He was booked to suffer more here in light of the injuries, and the work wasn't interesting. I also think the Big Show should have won this because the feud continued. He had a substantial advantage over Cena, and it made sense for him to win here. But he didn't. Cena said that the critics were silenced, and those who believed could hold on to that sense of pride, knowing that he didn't let them down. And he told Batista and Randy Orton, "May the best man win. It's only a matter of time before the champ is here." Later that night, The Miz once again came out, but this time he was dressed as John Cena. He came out to Basic Thugonomics, which was censored. I don't know why, because I think it was because it was early PG WWE. He said that he made a remix to Word Life, which was called Nerd Life. Oh, hell no. The most memorable part was when he referenced Steve Urkel, but the rhymes were terrible. As expected, when he called him out, he didn't come out, and it was The Miz 5, John Cena 0. Bro, stat padding. They crossed paths the following week, Lakers, Nuggets. I mean, if you know the story, it makes sense why the Nuggets are heels. But as expected, he interacted with both Miz and the Big Show. It wasn't much, though. Ahead of Extreme Rules, John Cena had to face those two in tag team action. His partner, Chavo Guerrero. The Miz compared Cena to Hannah Montana and called himself a winner trash in the audience. The match did not go Cena's way, and Big Show showed that he got the edge in the submission match. The match once again was boring. It lasted for too long, and it was all about whether or not Cena could keep the STFU locked in. He eventually did, and me talking about this match is very unnecessary because it dragged on and on. Cena moved on and focused on the one person that was constantly annoying him. The Miz. The next night on Raw, The Miz was scheduled to face Cena. He tried to respond to the doubters that claim he's been ducking him and said that he's in the ring. He claimed that Cena was the one avoiding him, and he called the fans John Cena apologist and also called them pathetic. For The Miz, he was lucky because the Big Show decided to interfere once again in an attack. This greatly pissed him off, though, because he brought in a chair and made an enemy out of the Big Show before finishing off Cena himself. On this incident, Cena said that he's been worse, but he doesn't remember the last time. He thought that the Big Show problem was solved, but it turns out he was wrong, and he told him that they're going to settle it. As for The Miz, he was well aware of what he was trying to do, and he respects that a little, but he had a problem with The Miz talking the talk and letting others do his dirty work. Cena promised that he'll come face to face with him as well, and About these things, yeah, Big Show and John Cena did come face to face, but it wasn't a one-on-one match. It was a fatal four-way for the WWE Championship. Cena did a lot of work to put the Big Show down, and he did it with the FU, but then Orton came in and dropped the Giant with an RKO before reclaiming his title. This also allowed John Cena to have 100% attention undivided on The Miz. He faces the Big Show in the main event, so now he could talk face-to-face with The Miz. He called him a coward, which Cena thought was ironic. So The Miz was like, you know what, I'm going to come down to the ring and tell you straight to your face. And he did just that. Cena's like, okay, I'll give you what you want. He congratulated him for the chance. He said that the good news is that The Miz will main event a pay-per-view when he faces John Cena. The bad news, Miz will main event a pay-per-view match when he faces John Cena. He had enough of him coming out here for 2 months trying to rattle him. Those insults are nothing compared to what he went through in the past. And rattled is when you get struck in the face and you're numb. It's when you see all these people looking at you and realize you brought a knife to a gunfight. He said that 6 days until he finds out that the real world has been canceled. 6 days when he realizes he's not a reality show has-been, he's a WWE never was. Clearly this got to The Miz. His ego was hurt, and Cena told him to pray to whatever he believes in that he makes it out in one piece. Miz delivers a cheap shot and makes a run for it, and he eventually returned during Cena's match with the Big Show and tried to make a statement. He hid from the Big Show and then continued where he left off. The Miz's ambition of being a huge star brought him to the point where he was pressing the WWE's big dog. It was very, very, very far-fetched, and if anything, it was stupid, but Miz was up for it. So what happened? He got jobbed out in 5 minutes. That's literally it. That's the story. John Cena destroyed him and went on to focus on the WWE Championship. So this is where I'm going to end the video. If you're like, why don't you continue? I think this was a perfect place to end it. Thought it was cool. I was actually going to end it after he lost that No Way Out, but I was like, nah, it doesn't make sense. John Cena was back. He was much better than he was in 2008. His positioning on the card, his matches. I didn't really like the Big Show feud. It dragged a bit, you know. Plus, he should have lost that Judgment Day because it would have made the feud a bit more interesting. But his feud with Edge was very good. It provided the feud closure. The Miz thing was kind of interesting, but he just literally slapped him and moved on. Jericho feud, I wish it was a bit longer, but it is what it is, so yeah. My favorite match from this entire run has to be the Backlash match because of how intense it was. You know, felt like the end of the feud, and they went all out. It was good, so yeah. Alright, what you guys think of John Cena's run? Please comment down below, and that's it for this video. Make sure you hit the STFU on the like button, or perhaps the FU on the subscribe button. Peace, I'm out.